What's happening, everybody? I'm out here doing my photographs right now on an absolutely beautiful day here, but I want to get you caught up on the what's sold videos. So this video is going to feature 15 bolo items that I sold for the 2-week period ending February 28th. I know that's a couple of months out, but a lot of you request these videos. I didn't want to stop them, so I'm going to crank this one out for you. Not only that, I'll show you what I did in gross sales for the entire month of February. I'll also talk about the amount of hours that I worked that month, as well as what my total cost of goods was, just to give you a little bit more of the inside scoop or the behind the scenes regarding the numbers of this little eBay experiment that I'm running. But yeah, let's get caught up on the what solds. All right, so for February 15th through the 28th, 4,800 in gross sales, just under 3,300 in net. I have a great average sales price of $61.76. Quantity sold down a little bit. That's no big deal. My selling cost at 26.5. I guess that's pretty normal, maybe a little bit lower. Here's what I did for the entire month of February. Just under 10,000 at right around 9,777, and a little bit of an increase over last year's February, which is positive. More importantly, up 4% in my net over last year with the 25% selling cost. That's great. My average sales price was very large here at $65.18 for the month. I worked 108 hours in February. So it was an average work week of 27 hours, which is a little bit more than I'm used to working on my eBay store, my eBay portion of all of the things that I have going on. And it's been about that for March and April as well. I'll go in and calculate those, and I'll pump those what sold videos out soon enough for you. So 27 hours, still very good. And then my cost of goods for the entire month was $1,394.40. So just under $1,400. It's a little bit lower than it was in January. It's still not where it needs to be. I still underspend, and that just is what it is. So let's get into the 15 items I sold the 2-week period ending the 28th. Some of you saw me source these at the bins. Pair of teaks, what more can I say about them? It's going to cost me about $1 because I got them at the outlet, and I sold them for $150. The buyer is $170.44 all in. What makes them unique is the color here, Pacific Green. It's still a great bolo in and of itself, but that color get you a little bit higher of a price. So this was an amazing sale, and they only took 10 days to sell. So teaks, great bolo, Pacific Green, even better if you can find that color. I love it. This is actually the second time I've sold this Toy Story 4 Bo Peep lamp. You have to watch some of the lamps that look like this. They have, I think, maybe a flat base. This one has the round base, but what I can tell you is, even though I sold this one for $60, it looks like when I put the comps on the screen that the prices have gone up. I've seen some sell for $100, some in the $130 range. So this must be getting even harder to find. So don't necessarily rely on the price that you see what I sold it for, because it looks like it has gone up. So I sold mine for $60. The buyer is just under $90 all in. I think this was $9 at a thrift store, and it only took 2 weeks to sell. So please keep your eye out for this Bo Peep lamp, because it looks like you might be able to get $100 for it. I've had this forever. I actually sold it. It was returned because the buyer that bought it was claiming that the cassette didn't work, which of course it did. So I got it back and then resold it. I'm not sure how much longer after that. So it's a Thomas Museum radio. It's got a little cassette on the side. The round one here looks like it might get a little bit more money than some of the other, like the square ones that you see. So I don't know, maybe there's something there. This is a little bit more of a limited edition one, maybe. I had it listed for $150. I sold it for $125. The buyer is just under $160 all in. I think this cost me $20. And I'm going to say it took about a year to sell, even though it was like only a month, because like I said, somebody bought it and returned it. It was this whole ordeal. I don't know what some people's problem is, but the thing worked fine. So obviously the second buyer was happy. I'm happy. I'll take the $120. Keep your eye out for certain radios that look like this. Certainly the round one, though, looks like you might be able to get anywhere from $60 to $150 for it. So just keep your eye out for it. I honestly cannot believe how much these things are selling for. So it's just a leg exercise machine. Leg exercise LEGX-012 is the model number here. I think this also cost me around $9 to $10 at a Goodwill, and I sold this for my full asking price. I sold it for $130. The buyer is $152.15 all in. It only took 2 days to sell, and the current listings to actual solds in the last 90 days ratio is highly skewed to the sold. So if you find it, grab it. test it. It's very easy to plug in and just see if it's working and moving properly. And boom, you get $130 out of it. This was an amazing find. This is another fantastic bins score. So we're going to say this one was probably less than $1, right? Because it's just super cheap. Right now, it's $1.99 at the bins for me per pound. I think this was like $1.50 or $1.60 when I found it. I could be wrong, but so let's just call it $1 to make it easy. Poison Raglan baseball style shirt. Fantastic. Billboard Hot 100 like list on the back of it. Just amazing. Took a little longer than I had hoped or anticipated at 9 months, but I'm certainly willing to wait to get the price that I got. So I had it listed for $150 and I sold it for $127.49. The buyer is $144.55 all in. Even after 9 months, I'm okay. I'm very much a list and wait. I don't adjust my prices hardly at all. Once I list them, I will send out offers from time to time. This buyer happened to pick one up and got a great deal on it as far as they're concerned, and I did too on my end. Pair of Aster Flex boot flex. There were a bunch of this came into my area, so I got this at a Goodwill. I think I paid $20 for them. They were new with the box. I had them listed for $200 and I sold them for $170. So this buyer is just under $200 all in after shipping and taxes at $192.80, and they only took 1 day to sell. This was one of the fastest sellers. I had a lot of these. I bought a bunch of them when I found them initially. So this was a very good sale for me, and that was a really good haul with all of the others that I did eventually sell. So Aster Flex, Boot Flex, I think this might have been sold out on like just the regular websites and whatnot. So coming to eBay and getting them, they were happy to pay $170, and that's a pretty sweet return on $20. I don't remember exactly what I paid for this Coach bag, just your very standard black pebbled leather bag. The style number was F48637. It does look like it is one of the ones that sold on the higher end. I think these are usually selling maybe in the $50, $60, $70 range, so I'm extremely lucky to get full price for it at $110. And I think I paid $25 for it. I don't remember exactly because we're going so far back, so let's just call it $25. And the buyer is $135.13 all in. So it only took 5 days to sell, a fast seller at $110. But yeah, that's a great price for this one because it looked like the comps were a little bit lower. This is one of the fastest sales that I've had. This Franklin Mint, it's the 1947 Ford Jubilee tractor. It had issues, right? It wasn't perfectly working properly. It had some pieces broken off and whatnot. I had it listed for $120 and it sold for full price within maybe like an hour or 2 hours. So an amazing sale. Buyer is $140.19 all in. I think it was $5. This was one of the ones that I got on camera. So if you've been following me for a little longer, you saw me source this at one of the stores. But another great sale. I mean, again, sold within hours, only cost me $5. Big return. Franklin Mint, like what can I tell you about them? Some are amazing, some are not. You just have to look them up and scan them, and that's just what I ended up doing. Looked at the tag, which I was lucky enough to have attached to it, and it sold fast. This really is just dumb luck. This just happens from time to time. So it's one of those soccer shoes that has like a high knit style over the ankle, which you don't, I guess, see that often, and maybe the colorway combination of this Nike pair made it a little bit more valuable. They're Magistax Proximo ACCs. The style number on this one is 718358-040. Some of them sell for a pretty decent dollar amount, but that colorway combination, that 040, it looks like those ones are a little bit more expensive, or you'll get more money for them if you sell them. So these only cost me around $5 to $5.50, and I sold them for $100. So the buyer is $123.57 all in. But they only sold in 1 day. I mean, it was a super fast sale. So could I have held out for $130? Probably, but with February, where you don't have as many days and it's typically maybe a little bit of a slower month, I'm happy with the $100. I can't complain. Yes, pickleball is all the rage all over the United States. So when I found this, I was surprised that it sold for as much as it did and it sold as quickly as it did. But now, long story short, pickleball, I'm looking for it at all of the garage sales, everywhere I go, all the thrift stores. And this was a Netty pickleball set. It had a couple of paddles. It had the full range of items that you need to play pickleball. It's like a brand new starter kit. I had it listed for $100. I am 100% convinced that it would have sold for that if I had waited, but I took an offer of $75. So the buyer is $95.03 all in. This was, again, around $8 to $9 for me, and it sold in 2 days. Super fast and very exciting sale, exciting find. Again, like I'm looking for it wherever I can find it at this point. Pickleball is hot. I think this is another one that I caught on camera also, and this is like me getting a little bit more or a little bit higher of a price than some of the other comparables would have. That's just me by virtue of me pricing high all the time. So it is an LL Bean raincoat, nothing special here, navy blue. The model number is 506199, full length, in very good condition. At the time, the comparables looked like these were selling for in between $50 and $60. So I thought I priced it fairly at $60, and I took an offer of $51. So it was still a great sale. And I don't remember, this could be, because I think I found it in store. I think it cost me between $5 and $10. So, I mean, even if we shoot on the high end at 10, it's still a great return, getting 51 for it. So the buyer is 61.54 all in. It took 3 months to sell, but boy, am I glad I picked it up, because at the time, if I remember correctly, and I think I had this one on camera also, I was like teetering between, should I pick this up? Should I not pick this up? But I'm glad I did. This was 100% an emotional purchase, not a logical one, because there were no really good comparables on it, but it's just this fold out G.I. Joe chair. It's a fishing chair, fishing strike team. I thought it was awesome, and G.I. Joe, that's like from my youth, was a huge part of my childhood. So I was like, I'm gonna grab this thing. I think it was around, what do I have written down? $4.99, so it was pretty cheap, and it took 7 months to sell, but honestly, I had it listed for 45. I sold it for 40. The buyer is 56.85 all in. That's definitely a win-win, especially when I try to tell newer sellers, like, don't go on emotion. Don't buy something just because you suspect somebody out there will like it, right? Or I love it, so somebody else must. Do that a little bit less when you're new. You can do that a little bit more when you're comfortable moving items, moving products, selling things a little bit more. And so this was one I was completely comfortable with and didn't really sit on it for that long, to be honest with you. 7 months is not that bad. So 40 bucks. So I'm totally happy with the $40, and it was a great sale. Now you have a comparable to go on if you find something like this in the wild yourself. Another one of those where, like, the only reason I picked it up is because the sold comparables were great. There were a lot of them, and they were hovering right around the $50 range. So that's where I listed mine. I actually had a tube that was long enough to hold this in the event I needed to ship it, although I think USPS has changed the details about shipping in tubes or long tubes. So maybe I would have had to ship this in a box rather than a tube, but I didn't have to worry about any of that because it was a local sale. So somebody picked it up from me. So that was fantastic. So $50 is what I got for it, and the buyer is $53.74 all in after tax only. And this also took 7 months to sell, but the sold comparables on these things are crazy. So if you're not afraid to ship a large item, because it is going to be 48 inches, what I can tell you is people will pay your shipping price, right? If you can get it in like a 48 by 9 by 9 size box or something close to it, and you use FedEx or UPS, you can ship it reasonably and people will pay that price. So just keep that in mind. I just happened to get extremely lucky that somebody here locally needed it, and transaction went great. These were kind of cool. I've never sold anything like this before. Kickboxing, like Muay Thai pads from Sanibel. I think this cost me like $6 or $7, so it was a pretty decent price. I had them listed for 35 and they sold for 35. The buyer is 51.79 all in after shipping and after taxes. These are one of the ones that I noticed in the listings, or checking the solds rather, that sell maybe a little bit better brand new, but these were in like new conditions. One of those things is someone probably used once for an hour, if they used them at all, and then never used them again. So they looked like perfectly brand new, in great shape, and I was pretty comfortable that I could sell them to close to what they would have sold if they were brand new. So cost me $7, only took 1 month to sell. Great sale. If you happen to see them and it's this specific brand and you're getting them for a good price, pick them up. Last one here, I paid up for this. I paid $50 for it, but it is a Florentine domed buckle satchel bag from Dooney & Burke. Looked it up, excellent condition, 100% authentic, and I sold it for $250. Amazing sale. The buyer's $291.56 all in. Again, paid $50 and it only took 12 days to sell. Very fast seller. Keep your eye out for these domed Florentine satchels from Dooney & Burke, as well as all of the other items that you have seen in this video. I hope you enjoyed those bolos. Trying to keep this video short today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll add a couple of items to your giveaway boxes in the next video, so we will get caught up on that. Next time, Brendan here, Dad Planet, the One Man Show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button if you are not already a subscriber, and we will see you in the next video.